We're just going to jump into it. A new conspiracy theory that I've been exposed to is the CIA created the Laurel Canyon music movement. And
Okay.
that shocks me because when I think about the culture, I think a lot of the culture, I mean it's a mix of a bunch of different things, but to manufacture a culture, to have an entity, a political entity, manufacture a culture, that's insane to me. I don't know if you're familiar with this theory,
Nah,
but
this is new.
so here's the idea, right? In the 60s, there was no music scene, there was no music industry in California.
Okay.
There was a anti-war sentiment going on though. And so all of a sudden you had these people pop up in the Laurel Canyon area of Los Angeles and they became these very famous musicians and different bands and stuff. And they sort of infiltrated the anti-war movement and they made it more hippie.
Okay.
And they brought in the rock and roll, they brought in the drugs, the sex, the sort of edgy culture.
All right.
And so the idea is once America started to see how terrible it got, especially with Charles Manson killing the people that he killed, they kind of freaked out and they're like, that's not us. And so they pushed away this anti war sentiment and they embraced a yes, let's go to war sentiment. There's a lot much more behind that, but that's what it is in a nutshell. The craziest part is these famous musicians, so many of them had parents that were, in the military or in intelligence or had something to do with government.
Right.
And so the theory goes they were planted. They were planted to change the culture. And not all of them, of course, but a lot of them. And I don't know for a fact if that's true, but I read a book about it and it got me. It really got me thinking about things.
Okay. Nah, it's I would say it's I wouldn't be surprised if it's true or not. I think as society as a whole, as we progress and as we learn, even with let's say AI and all this kind of technology, I think the whole objective is that we're eventually being controlled. Where everything that we think just comes up normally it is planted by someone who's above, like the leadership, who wants to see us be controlled. Because eventually, I feel like society doesn't want us to have our own intellect of thinking on our own, doing problem solving on our own. It's kind of more of just stare at your phone, believe what we want you to believe, and you'll be fine. You know, Nowadays people don't even like reading books. Nowadays you see all this kind of different, like you kind of see the progress of society. And I think I wouldn't be as shocked. It's like, okay, it was planted for that reason. I think there's a lot of stuff that's probably planted. We just never discovered it.
Yeah, and that's the part that bugs me a little because the culture can be a very beautiful thing, but part of that beauty is it's the natural fruition of things. But to manufacture it, that takes away some of the magics of it, so to speak. And the theory goes on and it kind of alludes to this. Again, it's not entirely proven, but it makes a case that this same sort of technique infiltrated the rap scene. And I've
Mhm.
always been curious why rap music has been so relevant for as long as it's been. I mean, you've had different musical genres come and go, and they take over the mainstream scene for a number of years, but rap has really gone on for a while. And
Right.
it just that the theory is rap got infiltrated.
No, I
And
think,
that's one of the ways that people get controlled now.
yeah, I think the whole like music industry itself has been infiltrated. The higher purpose of like music is like it controls you, be honest with you. Because for some people, they wake up, they listen to music. On their way to work, they're listening to music. On their way to their job, they're listening to music. On their way to school, whatever it is, taking a shower, they're listening to music. So this is all like at the end of the day, it's part of the bigger picture that if you don't do like your due diligence and understand that at the end of the day we have one common enemy and it's Shaitan, and that understand that he will come at you in every way, even when you think he's not coming at you, he will come at you. And unfortunately, when you start to pay attention to the lyrics that some people are listening to music and in other things, you'll start to okay, like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why am I saying these things that go against my religion, or why am I cursing? For some people, they curse God without even knowing they're cursing God because of the music. They're so in tune to the music that they forget what they're even saying. You know, so it is a crazy thing and gets deeper and deeper. You're like, just whoa, you know?
Yeah. There's so much more to it, you know. And that book I was reading about
Mhm.
this, it's crazy. It's crazy. And like America in particular, so much has happened in our country in
Yeah,
just not even the past century, in less than a century. And we still don't know all of it.
yeah. We probably won't ever know all of it because, like I said, they're really trying to control us as much as possible and like not allow us to make our own decisions in a sense. I think that's another reason why, like, we look at TikTok, why TikTok itself is getting banned. Like, I think that's the number one reason why is because on TikTok, you can just upload a video of whatever is happening around you right there and then, and millions of people can see it. And I feel like the government was like, we can't have that. We can't control people if they're starting to learn about the truth. They're trying to see how other cultures are doing things that, or why are we doing things differently. And yeah, so it's all about that mind game of controlling people. And like TikTok was one of those that they're like, yeah, we can't have TikTok on our platform. We gotta, that's why it's going to get banned. And yeah,
What conspiracy theories have you been engaged in as of late?
I'll recently I haven't been that indulged in like conspiracy theories because like I feel like conspiracy theories can lead to like just more rabbit holes and more rabbit holes and more rabbit holes, and then
As
you're
we
just like,
once discussed.
yeah, yeah, and then we'll just keep going and going. But I just try to find things that kind of relate towards like our dean and everything that can relate, like, oh, what's to come, understanding because like everything that happens on your daily life as you go, you'll start to see connections of like some of the stuff that was said in the hadith about what's going to happen towards the end of the times. Like one example that kind of really got me like, whoa, it's kind of crazy is when Prophet Muhammad said the hour won't start until the motherland, which is Saudi Arabia, turns green again.
I've
Now,
seen it. I
this
was
is
I was on the train from Medina to Mecca, and I'm just looking out the window, and I saw it. I
that's what I'm
saw
saying.
the
So,
green desert,
so
and it
last
just in
year,
that moment, I was kind of sleepy, but I was just looking at it, and I'm like, wow, right in front of me, it's green.
I went to Omar, and like as we were on that train, same train, and I was just like, "Whoa, man, this is green. Like this is coming to fruition now. Like we're literally seeing something that a man told like 14,000 years ago come to fruition at
1400.
1400. My bad, 1400 years ago come to fruition. You're just like, man, like subhanallah, like this stuff is happening, and you're like, wow. So those are more of like the things that I kind of been like, okay, what's to kind of prepare myself, make sure that okay, I prepare myself for the day of judgment. I'm doing good, family's good, everything's good. So that's kind of what I've been doing lately.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
haven't seen your face in real life or just in general in a very long time.
I know, I know.
I feel like you disappeared off the face of the earth.
I wouldn't say disappear. It's just more like I've been that grad life after you graduate. You kind of, like I said, you go to work, and then you just come home. You kind of get used to that, and it just comes like almost like a system of a routine. But more importantly, I just been doing stuff behind screens, not know like so. I'm doing stuff that people don't know that I'm working on this project, side quests and stuff like that. And Alhamdulillah has been good. I can't complain. But in return, it did have my absence in some of the stuff that you guys used to always see me like plus one, or I would pull up to UA sometimes to come see y'all. So yeah,
I haven't been to either of those locations in a very
really.
long time.
So the question should be towards you then.
No, but I really liked how you mentioned that part behind the screens, behind the scenes. This past summer, I was very isolated. There's a lot going on, and it felt like my life was really private. And there's something really liberating about that.
Nah, I like that too. I feel like private allows you to kind of detach yourself from society and kind of just focus on you and how. And I feel like when you do that, you grow more as an individual. You become more wise. You become more focused. You can accomplish more goals because there's no outside noise. It's just you. You get what I'm saying? And you
Yeah.
kind of start to you unlock new stuff that you didn't know you could do. Like, okay, I can do that. You know. So
What's something like that for you, if you don't mind me asking?
for me, uh,
Thomas Edison said, if we did all the things that we were capable of, we would literally astound ourselves.
yeah, we would. I would say it's for me was just more understanding now that I graduated how to use my time wisely at the same time learn day by day and like learn. So for me it's been more heavily on like focusing on like giving, like learning about dawah, how could I help or call people to Islam, and what message that I did start in college, how can I continue relaying that message now that I'm not in the university, not by people who are open to these type of questions. Now I'm in a business place where you're just kind of told to just go in, do your work, and come out. So these kind of things is what I've been kind of focusing on and like working and like break that chain where okay, this is where I'll teach someone a little bit about Islam at the code at my work that they didn't know and stuff like that. So that's what I've been
Wow.
working on.
Among the many things that you've been
On
working on.
among the many things, yes, yes.
Do you ever feel down about being so behind the scenes? Do you ever get FOMO?
I see what you're saying. Feeling like you got left behind. It depends. Like, yes, it could. Like, you're like, dang, like I knew if I went, I would have had fun, you know. But I think during these, like, when you do stuff like that eventually it's gonna pay out and it's gonna progress into something that's beautiful. You just gotta renew your intentions and like know that okay, don't no, you can cry now, but I promise you later you'll laugh and just enjoy it. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I tell myself to just motivate myself. Just like cry now, but later you'll be laughing, you'll be having fun. So don't worry about it.
There was a time in my life where I completely disassociated from, social. It was actually before COVID, like I think 6 months prior to COVID. I
Mhm.
was just off social media and I was just living my life. And I remember in those days, I never felt FOMO. Not that I can remember. I felt so engaged with my real life. And because I was only aware of the things happening in my real life,
All right.
because that outside noise was absent, it was like, wow, all the beautiful things are here in front of me. There's nothing else to think about.
Yeah, subhanAllah. I agree. I agree. For me, that best feeling that I could ever express that situation is during the month of Ramadan. Like the month of Ramadan, I feel like it's like the best time where I'm just like, man, like I don't want it to leave because when the first day, even just the first day of Ramadan, you go, you pray that Tarawih prayer, and it just hits you with the dua. It's just like everything in the world doesn't matter. You're just there at peace and moving forward and stuff like that. So during the month of Ramadan, I don't even go on social media. I'm just every day at the malls, hanging out with family, friends. So that's to me is when I'm like, okay, I'm really at peace, man. This is really, really, really good.
You take advantage of the fact that your devil's locked up, eh?
Hey man, you got to, because you know, like
You
month
got
of
to.
Ramadan is the most time, like you know, Allah grants people Jannah, so you don't want to miss your opportunity because it's not guaranteed always that you will have the next Ramadan. You know, and in fact, there was a story about how a man who was very pious, did good charity, he was known as a good person and everything, and this other friend who wasn't as best, but he witnessed another Ramadan than he did. So when they died, and Allah brought them to Jannah and everything, the man that witnessed another Ramadan went entered Jannah first. And the question was asked like, why did he go in first while the other person was more pious, was always on prayed his salah on time, was good on his deeds, all this kind of stuff. And the response was he witnessed another Ramadan. That was the answer because that's how significant witnessing another Ramadan. You could witness, you can have Laylatul Qadr, you could have all your sins forgiven, dua to go to Jannah. So that's kind of when Ramadan comes, I just lock in. Just I think of that story. I'm like, okay, lock in on that.
Yeah. Ramadan is really, you feel it, especially if you intend to, you feel it, I think. Um, you are repping Libazun Lakum. Shout
Yes,
out to Samir.
yes.
Tell me about Free Sudan.
Free Sudan is, you know, you see the struggle that's happening in Sudan. You know, our people, if most people don't know, I'm Sudanese, so I also rep that because I'm also Sudanese. A lot of people in Sudan are going through a lot of hunger and displacement, and you won't notice that because it's not covered as much as you can see all over the world. Like we hear about Palestine, Syria, but we don't hear much coverage of Sudan and how many people are being displaced. Last time I checked, and the update was that 6 million people are about to be displaced and be homeless with no food, and they're about to starve and die. So it's just crazy how all this stuff is happening around the world. So it's a so real moment. But inshallah khair, we just got to keep making our dua, keep praying, and remind ourselves what's our biggest purpose, and be be one ummah. Most of us nowadays, we really don't. We're not one ummah. We kind of think that we say that we're one ummah, but in reality, it's like, oh, this happened and so and so. Thank God it didn't happen to my country. You know, they don't think
Not in
of
my
it.
backyard.
Not in my
NIMBY.
backyard. Exactly. They don't think that, oh, so and so is also my brother, so it hurts me. Like that's what it really means to be one ummah, where we come together and we're like, you know what? It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you're from Dubai or not Dubai, Emirat. If you're from Syria, Palestine, Libya, Sudan,
Pakistan.
Egypt, Pakistan, all these places. American, if you're American, it doesn't matter as long as you believe in La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. You're good. You're my brother. If someone hits you, I will defend you immediately. So that's just kind of the take. If we all were to think like that, all the stuff around the world probably wouldn't happen. You know, we would be in control. But subhanallah, we're all being tested in different ways.
Yeah. You brought up a thought in my head, which was I was driving the other day and I was thinking, imagine somebody who they lived a very normal life
Mm-hmm.
and now they're like an old person in Jerusalem and all of a sudden the crusades begin. Like, oh my God, what is going on here? I just lived this very normal life and now everything's going to hell. Or like even someone who was Jewish during the Holocaust, like an older person, they just
Yeah,
lived their regular life in Germany or Italy or whatever. And now all of a sudden everybody's being rounded up into camps. Like things change with time.
yeah. It just shows that nothing's really promised. You know, in an instant, just like that. Yesterday, you could have been with your boys, you know, playing soccer, doing whatever you want to do. The next day, the world just flipped upside down, and you're just at the bottom end of it, and you're just shocked that like you don't even know how we got here. So it's
And
like just count your blessings and just understand, like, okay, I'm good now.
from a
But you were saying,
Muslim perspective, what do you think is the best way, you know, God willing, we don't ever face something like that. But what do you think is the best way to prepare for something like that?
prepare is
Just being mindful of your blessings.
Yeah, so it's just being mindful. Like I said, if you're mindful and you know, like when something hits you, right? There's something that if you have a strong tawakkul in Allah, like if you build your tawakkul and you make sure, like, okay, I rely fully on Allah, I depend fully on Allah, there's going to be a piece of blessing that's entering your heart where no matter if something were to happen to you, you'll be content. That's why you see the people in Palestine when something were to happen, they're content. But why do I have to worry? Now my son's in Jannah. Why do I have to worry? So and so's in Jannah. That's the peace of you have when you have full reliance on Allah. That's the peace that will enter your heart. They say that what really makes a person rich is not his pockets, but the richness of his heart. Because then a poor person can feel rich because his heart is so attached with Allah, as opposed to the richest person on the world whose heart feels so poor and he's detached from Allah. He has a miserable life, and you can see that in our leaders today. They go spend all this money, but they're still sad, you know. So because they're missing that tawakkul and peace in their heart. So
Yeah, very good point.
mm-hmm.
Coming back to conspiracy theories, a few months ago, or I think maybe even a year ago by now, can't remember exactly when this happened, but there's a little submarine that went down to go see the Titanic.
Yeah,
Do you think there was some foul play with that, or
that I Allah had him honestly. It was just very unfortunate, but you can kind of see like I don't know when it happened. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. I feel like as a whole, it teaches us two things. Two things I take away from that, right? Is that no matter what, how far advanced we get in technology, right? At the end of the day, when your time comes, it comes. Like subhanAllah, it was written for that. God, those people, it was written in their book that they were gonna die all the way, all the way down in the ocean, visiting the Titanic. Why? Why? Because of lack of oxygen and everything, and the thing bursting of pressure. Who would have thought that in our DNA in our day and age where we're very advanced in technology, we are building tallest buildings. We have AI that can help us do all of this. We have now we even have flying cars. So it just teaches you like
Iron Man?
you have Iron Man, like people actually building Iron Man now. They have jets that can literally make you
I've been
fly.
seeing that since I was a kid. I remember I was like 7 or 8, and they used to like mail magazines right to my house, and I'd see a magazine. I think it was like an army magazine or something, or tech,
Yeah, the army
and it
has
was
it.
literally like an Iron Man suit, and it was like, oh, we're trying to build an Iron Man suit. It's
So I,
insane.
so it's like it's just crazy. So these conspiracies, like, wow, it's crazy at the end of the day, but it also teaches you a deeper meaning. Like, let's say if it wasn't, there was no foul play, you can kind of see like, dang, subhanAllah, like even when you prepare, things can go wrong.
Yes, that
So,
is, yeah. Just like we were talking, you are right, man. Yeah, I don't know why, but that topic has come up in conversation a few times lately. Just that submarine just gone away,
yeah,
and yeah,
that's crazy, bro. The world around us is crazy. I think as a whole, we just got to be more prepared, especially as a Muslim. We have to definitely know, like, be on our deen and kind of know everything around us because the territory that we are in is in a territory where we're made to seem like the worst person ever, like the worst of the worst. So it's about carrying yourself, knowing how to go about it, and just smile. A smile can go a long way. There was a story of how this one lady could just converted to Islam because this guy was just smiling. She was rude to him. She was saying you terrorist. She called him a bunch of names, but he always smiled and was like, thank you. And eventually she said, well, how come you're always happy and you're smiling? And he was like, my religion teaches me to be kind to others, even when they're not kind to me. Just smile and walk away.
Mhm.
and then that hit her heart, and she became Muslim. You know, so
Wow. Profound story, man.
profound stories, man. Been learning a lot.
Yeah. Dude, I really do want to go on, but I also want to respect, your time. So
I
I'm
appreciate it.
wondering, do you have any closing thoughts?
Closing
Anything you
thoughts.
felt like you wanted to say you didn't get a chance to? Something on your
I
mind you
think
wanted to
I
express?
think I kind of said it all, but just out there, just like I said, I think the key victory that we all got to remember is that it's not this world. The story that I once someone told me or I heard was that you're just a traveler in this world, and eventually, uh, you will depart from you. So eventually, if you, for example, let's say, right, if you were to go to a hotel, you wouldn't go buy a whole flat screen TV yourself, paint the room, buy new furniture, and go crazy, break this wall, add this wall, custom made bathrooms, and you check out literally tomorrow. That doesn't make sense. So someone used that same analogy and said that's how we are in this world, and we need to always remember Allah and know sooner or later our time will come. And as long as we do that, we remember, we just stay upon the straight path. Inshallah, everything will work itself out. So those are my closing thoughts.
I'm happy to hear that. That is a
Yeah.
good closing message. But I'm happy to see you again. I'm happy
Now,
that we got a chance to speak
you
again.
already know how I feel about this. I love doing this. We talk.
Yeah, I wanted this one to be like so long because this was
I
the week I
know,
had
I
the pro,
know,
and
I know.
but yeah, it is what it is, man. It is fate, as they say,
Yeah.
and um, I look forward to seeing you again in person, inshallah,
Yes,
whenever
yes,
that
yes.
is.
And if we need to do this again in the future, I'm always here, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your last episode was good. Several people came up to me and like, dude, I watched Omar Thalsam's his episode and it was good. I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all him.
Nah. It's also you, man. We go tit for tat. We go crazy together.
Conversations or dances.
Station.
Takes two to tango, eh?
And like I said, it takes two to tango. That's my takes two to tango.
Is that what Malik got from you? I got
Yeah,
that
it
from
takes
him.
I don't know. I always say that too. Takes two to
Okay.
tango.
Cool. Cool.
Great minds think alike, so it could be both.
There you go. There you go. But I
Yeah.
suppose until next time, eh?
All
Inshallah.
right. I'll see you.
Take care.
All right. You too.
Thank you.